What's up, Hoopers? There's some breaking news out there from Adrian Wojnarowski. Now that the preseason is over with, the Lakers are going to start opening up conversations again to trade Russell Westbrook. Let's listen to it.
Does this impact at all Russ's future with the Lakers?
Yeah, Malika, the Lakers at some point here will start engaging teams again on possible Russell Westbrook trades. They paused it essentially at the start of training camp.
So the teams paused all trade talks at the start of training camp, and this is exactly why. These teams are trying to figure out who's going to make the team, who are they cutting before they make any type of trade. They're also going to watch and see how these players are reacting in these games, if they have true talent, or they have to trade some of their better players because Victor Wembanyama, whatever his name is, he's coming in hot. There's a lot of teams looking to tank to get him and to get the better odds for those ping pong balls. And I have broken down the top teams looking to make that move. There's a lot of reports out there of some of these teams looking to trade to the Lakers. And honestly, Russell Westbrook at this point, he's a 1 year. He's just a get out of jail free card. You buy him out, you trade good assets, and you get the best odds period to land Victor next year. So if you want to learn some of these teams and some of the moves that the Lakers are starting to make right now at the beginning of the season, that's what we're going to discuss. I am your NBA white guy. I talk all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And if you love that kind of content, make sure you dunk that like button and you subscribe so that you never miss a thing. All right, so Wojnarowski came out and said that, yes, the Lakers are going to start shopping. Now, he's starting to hear a little bit of buzz. And then, obviously, the emergence of Victor coming up, in the Euro League, there's a lot of teams crashing. They're talking about this dude being a generational talent. And I want to talk about something first and foremost. That's a lot of pressure for a young dude. I really hope that he does get to a good team and that he actually can, make a name in the NBA. He's crazy talented, but that's a lot of pressure that King James went through, if you remember. But what I want to do first and foremost is I'm going to bring up all the Vegas odds of the lowest teams. I'm going to bring up a bunch of reports of some of these teams that are definitely in the trade market. One of them being the most famous coach and one of the most famous organizations out there who just blatantly admitted, yeah, we're going for it. So you're not going to want to miss that. But first, let's look at the Vegas odds. Who are the teams most likely to tank for Victor? And one of them right now, I'm telling you, that would be the craziest NBA story of all time. Let's check it out. So if you go to any of the, Vegas odds, they're all very similar. The one thing that I've seen movement on and I've done some videos on is right here, the Celtics. These kind of flip-flop, but the Celtics were the, running away favorite about a month ago, but the firing of their coach has moved them. But let's talk about the bottom feeders here. Here's your top six. Where do the Lakers come in? Right here at 2,700. So the bottom teams, these are who you're really looking at. Now, if you look at these odds, you got the Sacramento Kings down here. There's been a lot of chirp about the Kings, but I know that the head coach there, he's trying to keep his job. Plus, they got De'Aaron Fox. They got Sabonis, and they picked up Malik Monk from the Lakers. So they're a young team that's going to be, winning some games. And as the last preseason game we just saw, they just smacked the Lakers for 50. I don't care if it's preseason or not. You don't lose by 50, especially when some of your stars are playing. So that's going to be a young, exciting team. You got the Pacers, the Magic, the Spurs, the Pistons, the Jazz, the Rockets, and look at this, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Could you imagine Chet and Victor on the same team? Oh, they play the same position. No, they don't. You imagine having those two dudes who can stretch the floor and shoot from anywhere? If they win this ping pong ball because Chet ain't playing this season, this could be, a blessing in disguise that he gets hurt. It's kind of like when David Robinson got hurt that year and they somehow got Tim Duncan, the Twin Towers. Now you got the Twin Towers. Ooh, I almost want to see it just to see it. But, there's great teams. I want to break down some of these players now, or some of these teams. Obviously, the Utah Jazz and Danny Ainge, they got $8 billion draft picks. But they did get rid of Bogdanovich. That's really the one player that I wanted the Lakers to go get. But I'm sure old Danny Ainge is going to be working something to get these picks. So I want to talk about a few things first, and then we're going to go into some of these players, and then we're going to talk about that notorious coach and notorious franchise and what they said is just unbelievable in regards to tanking. But you got to think about this in the first step. The Lakers didn't make a move during the, before the season started or the preseason, and I think it was pretty advantageous because you have to see that these teams go through some kind of pain or, wanting to actually tank for Victor. look, when they were making these trades, Victor wasn't a guy that was like, you know, known as well. He wasn't like tank for Victor yet. Now, people had heard about him, but there's also, you know, you got to realize, but it just wasn't as big of a household name. So that's going to actually be beneficial for not only the Lakers, but some of these other teams looking to get better because they're desperate to get Victor, right? So they may be able to deal some of their players for less. Now, the Lakers have 2 first-round picks, and they are very highly regarded. You know, they have the 2027 and the 2029. The whole thought process behind this comes from Danny Ainge, who is obviously very smart. He said those are some of the most highly coveted picks in the NBA because basically by 2027, 2029, LeBron's going to be out of there. They have no more assets, and that team could be absolutely atrocious. So these could be top picks. So they do have those 2 picks, and they have Russell Westbrook, who is not somebody you really want. But if you're looking to just get a player, offload talent, and get the best odds, that 14% odds for Victor, then you do this because you can just buy out Russell Westbrook or let him play 1 year, whatever, and you're off of, you know, that contract, and you are off those good players who may stretch out your win totals this year. But let's get over and look at some of these teams and some of the players that they have viable for the Lakers. Now, one of those teams I want to talk about right out of the gate is the Indiana Pacers. Now, the Pacers, you know, their front office has came out and said, we are not tanking. That is the last thing we're doing. Maybe so, and that is a blue-collar, hard-nosed team, you know, and city. But you do have Miles Turner and Buddy Hield sitting there. These are massive talks that the Lakers have, you know, joined all preseason to talk with the Pacers about. But as this season progresses, again, we can wait, you know, till trade deadline for some of these. But here's the big mistake about that. If Russell Westbrook really starts stinking it, his draft capital really, you know, goes away, right? And so you've got to start offering probably more picks. Unless these teams are just downright atrocious and they're kind of winning close games here and there and they want to make sure they get better odds, that's why. But this could be something that the Pacers, they desperately are looking to do, is offload Hield and offload Turner, and they can, you know, do that by trading with the Los Angeles Lakers. The next one, I'm just going to get right to it. I got to jump over and show you this quote real quick. So if we look here, the Spurs, right? This is the organization I was talking about. The Spurs might be the sentimental favorite. Victor spent last season playing in France for a team owned by former Spurs guard Tony Parker. San Antonio was bad enough in this 96-97 season. Hey, that's what I was talking about. Tracking the Spurs to get Tim Duncan, whatever. Here's Greg Popovich. This is what he said the other day, though. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'll say it anyway. Spurs coach Greg Popovich says as he leaned closer to the microphone for extra emphasis at his team's media day last month. Nobody here should go to Vegas with the thought of betting on us to win the championship. A few days later, the Spurs and the rest of the league were in Vegas to watch Wembanyama play a pair of preseason games. He didn't disappoint, 36.5 points a game in those contests. So I don't think a guy like Greg Popovich has to worry about losing his job. This is something that the Spurs can, you know, do. They can lose a bunch of games. They basically did last season too. They just have not been viable since the Duncan era, and this would really revolt the whole entire system. And if they can get Greg Popovich to instill, you know, that kind of, you know, leadership into Victor and get some other vets around him, I think it would be huge. So who do the Spurs have that would really help the Lakers if they bought out and traded Russell Westbrook over to the team? Let's look. All right, so here's the lineups for, you know, the Spurs. This is according to the year here, and I actually, you know, wanted to look at salary stuff too. I'm not going to go hardcore into if they can or can't with salaries, but right away, I did notice they have a lot of dudes in that 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", 6'8", 6'5", 6. It's like opposite of the Lakers right now. So they've got a ton of wings, but we also need shooters, right? And here's the thing. You're going to talk about 3-and-D players. Yes, it's definitely nice to have wing defenders, but defense is 100% team driven, right? So if there's one bad apple, it doesn't matter. It's going to be terrible because as soon as that one bad apple, it, you know, just doesn't do anything, the fingers start pointing, or if they just don't respect that person. Now, you can have a guy, you know, early on in his career, like a Steph Curry, who just, you know, didn't play defense, or James Harden when he was really good. These guys didn't play much defense, but they were such great players and they fit the team so well, you know, you got by it. But here's the thing, obviously, that everybody talked about. You have guys right here, 6'5", Josh Richardson. This is a guy last season who shot 41.5, you know, 42% from behind the arc in 65 games. So was healthy, played a lot of games, and shot extremely well. And the other guy that a lot of people talk about, you know, who's definitely got some height is right here, Doug McDermott. He's 6'8". Last year shot over 42% from the three-point line. So these are two taller, you know, wing shooters that would really stretch the defense. Now I wanted to look at Josh Richardson's shot chart here. This is obviously his career average with, you know, 1,900 and, you know, three-point attempts is right around 37%. So he's definitely got better as he's gone on, but that's still a great shot chart. And you can see, you know, he shoots very well from the top too, 37%, 35%. So we're going to break it down to the just last year he played 65 games. He shot 41.5%, and right here these are great numbers because most shooters, especially who the Lakers have, they all shoot very well from the corners, and he obviously does too, and he's going to be there. The one thing I'm not loving about the Lakers offense right now, it's completely stagnant. They're doing one pick and roll up top with guys standing there. I thought they were going to have more movement than this, but right here, this is a guy, if you're going to get him to a spot, I mean, shoot, 57% from the top of the key. That's exactly what you need. Now, I know we also had Matt Ryan come in the preseason and really, you know, light things up. He's a 6'8" player. And the other player, Kendrick Nunn. These are dudes who can shoot from straight away too. So when you have guys who can only really hit in the corners, hey, now we've got a lot more options, and you have to watch everywhere on the court for shooters. And you can start with a Josh Richardson who's 6'5", can play defense, and bring in a Matt Ryan. Now it's swapping shooter for shooter, right? And that you always have that respect. So the other guy I wanted to do, Doug McDermott, shot 42% last season, and again, straightaway shooter, very, very good. And from the corners, just a sniper at 70% over here. So again, these are guys, we have to have shooters, and if they're high energy dudes and they're role players, that's what works in the organization. Because like I've been seeing in the preseason towards the end of the game, I don't care what angle, what camera, whatever you want to talk about, Russell Westbrook talking to the coaches and miss it. No, he had his hands on his knees, and there was something said because Anthony Davis snapped right over and went right to him to calm him down. So he may have been looking at the coaches, whatever, but he did not go to that defensive huddle at all. And I'm kind of like, dude, Pat Bev, you know, you've been there for 4 or 5 preseason games, but that's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to bring these guys together. LeBron came in, AD came in, Westbrook said something. I think it's just going to linger, and it's going to start causing a little bit more animosity and splitting up of the team. And they're going to go on some 2, 3, 4 game losing streaks, and it's going to get bad quick. So I do think that they're going to open up the phones. But here's another team that I want to discuss who has an incredible player and maybe looking to tank. But before I do that, you gotta hit that like button. That's what helps my videos out if you're loving what I'm doing here as your NBA white guy. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing. This one I'm excited about. This is the NBA white guy general manager move of the year. Here we go, talking big moves. Okay, so the bottom feeders here, these are people looking to get Vic. You've got teams down there. Maybe the Houston Rockets are looking young and they want to get rid of Eric Gordon because he's a leader. I know it's another small dude, but he shoots 42+% and he can shoot from half court, and he shoots like 50% from straight away. But there's even a better player. I'm calling it right now. Portland Trailblazers, baby. Look, it's time. Dame Time goes to a big market and goes back home to California. And look, Austin Reeves, he's going to be dialed in. You could trade him. Kendrick Nunn, he's going to be an absolute walking bucket. Trade him. He's super young. You got Anthony Simons there in Portland. You just got Gary Payton Jr. You got some young studs. You roll with those dudes, you get Vic, you're going to be nasty. But that brings Dame Time, and maybe we'll get Jeremy Grant. Send the 2 first-round draft picks, 27, 29. Send Reeves, send Nunn, send the house, bring Dame Time to LA. I think they're going to work something big. Dame's got to be working with Braun in LA, and that is my thing. Now, I need you guys to vote down below. When the Lakers make a trade for Russell Westbrook this season, is it going to be somebody like the Spurs? Is it going to be the Pistons? Is it going to be the Pacers? Is it going to be the Portland Trailblazers? Who do you feel like has the best fit to offload? There's a lot of smart, fans out there and my subscribers who talk about actual contracts and legalities. You guys blow up my comments down below of what they're going to do, but they got to move off Westbrook. Now, if you would, please go down and hit that like button and make sure you subscribe so you never miss a thing. I am your NBA white guy talking all things NBA hoops from a hooper's perspective. And until my next video, homies, we'll catch you later.